The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with countless stars and swirling galaxies. Among these cosmic wonders, one civilization stood tall and proud, the Galactic Empire. For over 10,000 years, they had ruled the known universe with an iron fist, their power unmatched and their technology unrivaled. At the heart of the empire lay the capital world of Xener, a planet of gleaming cities and towering spires that touched the sky. Here, in the imperial palace, sat Emperor Xorlax VI, the latest in a long line of rulers who had overseen the empire's expansion across the stars. Emperor Xorlax was a tall, imposing figure with blue-tinted skin and 4 arms, each ending in delicate fingers perfect for manipulating the advanced technology that surrounded him. His large, multifaceted eyes scanned the holographic displays before him, showing the vast expanse of his domain. Another system brought into the fold, he mused, his voice a low rumble that echoed through the cavernous throne room. "How many species have we conquered now, High Counselor Vex?" Vex, a slender creature with tentacles for limbs and a head that tapered to a point, consulted his datapad. "Over 10,000, Your Majesty. The Empire's reach grows with each passing cycle." The Emperor nodded, a smug smile playing on his lips. "And how many have dared to resist us?" "None that have succeeded, Your Majesty," Vex replied, his voice tinged with pride. "Our technology and military might are unmatched in the known universe." It was true. The Galactic Empire's warships were marvels of engineering, capable of destroying entire planets with a single shot from their main cannons. Their soldiers were enhanced with cybernetic implants, making them stronger, faster, and more ruthless than any organic being. And their mastery of faster-than-light travel allowed them to move entire fleets across the galaxy in the blink of an eye. But it wasn't just their military prowess that made the Empire so formidable. They had perfected the art of subjugation, using a combination of intimidation, propaganda, and selective kindness to keep their conquered species in line. Those who cooperated were rewarded with advanced technology and a comfortable life under imperial rule. Those who resisted, well, they didn't resist for long. As Emperor Xorlax basked in the glory of his empire, a young officer burst into the throne room, his 4 legs skittering across the polished floor in haste. "Your Majesty," the officer exclaimed, bowing low. "We've detected an anomaly at the edge of the outer rim." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Explain, Lieutenant." The officer gulped, his exoskeleton clicking nervously. "Our long-range scanners have picked up signs of a new civilization, one we've never encountered before. They appear to be expanding rapidly." A murmur of surprise rippled through the assembled courtiers. It had been centuries since a new species had been discovered, let alone one advanced enough to be detected at such a distance. "Show me," the Emperor commanded, his voice sharp with interest. A large holographic display materialized in the center of the throne room, showing a region of space at the very edge of the Empire's territory. There, a cluster of stars pulsed with activity, ships moving between them at speeds that rivaled the Empire's own vessels. "Who are they?" Xorlax demanded, leaning forward on his throne. The officer consulted his datapad. "According to our initial scans, they call themselves humans, Your Majesty. They originate from a planet called Earth." "Humans," the Emperor repeated, testing the unfamiliar word. "And what do we know of their capabilities?" "Very little, Your Majesty," the officer admitted, "but their rate of expansion is unprecedented. They've colonized dozens of systems in just a few centuries." A slow, predatory smile spread across Emperor Xorlax's face. "Well, well," he purred. "It seems we have some new subjects to welcome into our loving embrace." High Counselor Vex cleared his throat. "Shall I prepare the standard subjugation fleet, Your Majesty?" The Emperor waved a dismissive hand. "No need for anything so elaborate, Vex. These humans are but children compared to our glorious empire. Send a single battle cruiser to their home system. That should be more than enough to bring them to heel." As the court bustled with activity, preparing for this new conquest, none of them could have imagined the storm that was about to break upon their heads. For the humans, those strange bipeds from a distant blue world were unlike any species the Empire had ever encountered. And they were about to teach the Galactic Empire a lesson it would never forget. While the Galactic Empire plotted its next conquest, a very different scene was unfolding on a small blue planet called Earth. In a bustling control room of the United Earth Space Command, alarms blared. Red lights flashed, casting an urgent glow over the faces of the men and women working at their stations. At the center of it all stood Admiral Sarah Chen, her eyes fixed on the massive screen before her. "Report," she barked, her voice cutting through the noise. A young officer spoke up, his fingers flying over his keyboard. "Ma'am, our deep space sensors have picked up an unknown object entering the solar system. It's massive." Admiral Chen's eyes narrowed. "How massive?" "Bigger than anything we've ever built," the officer replied, his voice trembling slightly. "And it's moving fast." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spread across their solar system and to nearby stars, but they had never encountered alien life. Until now. "Alert all colonies," Admiral Chen ordered. "I want every ship we have ready for action. And get me the president." As the control room erupted into action, the scene shifted to a small farm on one of Earth's colony worlds. Here, under the light of an alien sun, John Martinez wiped the sweat from his brow as he examined the strange, purple fruit growing in his fields. Another successful harvest, he muttered to himself, a smile playing on his lips. Who would have thought we'd be growing alien crops on an alien world? John's life was a testament to humanity's adaptability. In just a few generations, they had gone from a single-planet species to a spacefaring civilization, colonizing harsh worlds and bending them to their will. They had faced challenges that would have broken lesser species, deadly atmospheres, extreme temperatures, alien diseases, and they had overcome them all. But it wasn't just their ability to adapt that made humans unique. It was their diversity, their creativity, their relentless drive to innovate and improve. While the Galactic Empire had stagnated, content with their perceived superiority, humanity had never stopped pushing forward. In laboratories across human space, scientists were unlocking the secrets of the universe. They had mastered fusion power, developed AI assistants that bordered on sentience, and were on the brink of discovering how to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. In orbital shipyards, engineers were building vessels that combined cutting-edge technology with designs inspired by nature and human history. Sleek fighters modeled after Earth's birds of prey flew alongside massive carriers that could house entire communities. And in the hearts and minds of every human, there burned a fierce love of freedom and a determination to forge their own destiny among the stars. Back on Earth, in the halls of the United Earth Government, President Amelia Okafor received the news of the alien ship's approach. Unlike the panicked reactions of some of her advisors, the president remained calm, her eyes glinting with determination. "Ladies and gentlemen," she addressed the Emergency Council, "we've prepared for this moment for generations. Ever since we first looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching them, we knew this day would come." She stood, her presence commanding the attention of everyone in the room. "We are not the Galactic Empire. We do not seek to conquer or subjugate. But make no mistake, we will not bow to any who threaten our freedom." As her words were broadcast across human space, a wave of determination swept through the population. In homes, in factories, in ships and stations, humans prepared for whatever was coming. On a military base on Mars, soldiers donned powered armor suits, the culmination of decades of research into human augmentation. Each suit was a marvel of engineering, enhancing the wearer's strength and speed while providing unparalleled protection. In a hidden facility deep beneath Europa's icy surface, scientists put the finishing touches on Project Nemesis, a weapon of last resort that could reshape the very laws of physics. And in countless homes across a dozen worlds, ordinary people hugged their loved ones, checked their emergency supplies, and steeled themselves for the unknown. As the massive alien ship drew closer, humanity stood ready. They were not the easy conquest the Empire expected. They were humanity, adaptable, innovative, and fiercely independent, and they were about to show the galaxy why you should never underestimate them. The stage was set. Two civilizations, each believing in their own superiority, were about to collide. And the universe would never be the same. The massive Imperial battlecruiser Starfire dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Its hull gleamed in the light of Earth's sun, a testament to the Empire's technological prowess. On the bridge, Commander Zax peered at the holographic display of the system, his mandibles clicking in anticipation. Primitive, he sneered, noting the scattered settlements on various planets and moons. This conquest will be over before it begins. Little did he know that his every move was being watched. Deep in the asteroid belt, hidden among the tumbling rocks, a stealth observation post picked up the Starfire's arrival. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez's eyes widened as she took in the size of the alien vessel. "Holy Mother off," she whispered before snapping into action. Her fingers flew over the console, sending an encrypted message back to Earth. "Unknown vessel has entered the system. Size and energy readings off the charts. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Back on Earth, in the war room of the United Earth Government, President Okafor received the news with grim determination. She turned to Admiral Chen, who stood at attention beside her. "Admiral, initiate First Contact Protocol Omega," the President ordered. "Let's see if we can resolve this peacefully." Admiral Chen nodded and relayed the orders. Across the solar system, human ships began to move into defensive positions, cloaking fields engaged to keep them hidden from the Empire's sensors. Meanwhile, a small, sleek vessel detached from the lunar base, its mission, to make first contact and, if necessary, deliver a warning. Aboard the Starfire, Commander Zax was growing impatient. "Why haven't they responded to our hails?" he growled. "Don't they know the honor we're bestowing upon them by allowing them to join the Empire?" His second-in-command, a thin, reptilian creature named Slicks, spoke up. "Sir, we're detecting a small vessel approaching. It appears to be unarmed." Zax's eyes narrowed. "Finally, prepare the tractor beam. We'll bring them aboard and show them the might of the Empire up close." But as the human ship drew closer, something unexpected happened. It came to a stop just outside the range of the Starfire's tractor beam. A communication request pinged on the Imperial console. Surprised, Zax accepted the transmission. A hologram flickered to life on the bridge, showing a human woman in a crisp uniform. It was Captain Yuki Tanaka of the UES Peacekeeper. "Greetings, visitors," Captain Tanaka said, her voice calm but firm. "I am Captain Yuki Tanaka of the United Earth Space Force. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to our solar system." Zax sneered. "I am Commander Zax of the Galactic Empire. Your welcome is unnecessary. We are here to bring your species into our glorious empire. Prepare to submit to our rule." A flicker of something, was it amusement, passed over Captain Tanaka's face. "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Commander. We have no intention of submitting to anyone's rule. We are a free people, and we intend to stay that way." Zax's mandibles clicked in anger. "You dare defy the Empire? Your primitive species cannot hope to stand against us." Captain Tanaka's expression hardened. "Commander, we've studied your ship since the moment you entered our system. We've analyzed your weapons, your defenses, and your technology. While impressive, they are not beyond our understanding or our capabilities to counter." She leaned forward, her voice taking on a steely edge. "We do not seek conflict, but make no mistake. If you attempt to subjugate us, we will resist with everything we have. And I promise you, we are far more than we appear." Zax laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Empty threats from a doomed species. You have one planetary cycle to surrender, or we will take your worlds by force." Captain Tanaka shook her head, a look of genuine regret crossing her face. "Then you leave us no choice. Remember this moment, Commander. Remember that we warned you." With that, the transmission cut off. The human ship turned and sped away, quickly disappearing from the Starfire's sensors. Zax turned to his crew, mandibles spread in a victorious grin. "Prepare for planetary assault. We'll show these humans the price of defiance." But as the Starfire began to move deeper into the solar system, alarms suddenly blared across the ship. Slick's eyes widened in panic as he checked his console. "Sir," he cried, multiple energy signatures appearing all around us. They're everywhere." As Zax watched in disbelief, the seemingly empty space around his ship shimmered. Dozens, then hundreds of human vessels decloaked, surrounding the Starfire in a deadly sphere. For the first time in his life, Commander Zax felt a flicker of fear. The humans had warned them to run. Now, he realized, it might be too late. The battle for Earth was about to begin. Commander Zax's mandibles quivered with a mix of fear and rage as he stared at the sea of human ships surrounding his lone battlecruiser. The Starfire, once a symbol of imperial might, now seemed small and vulnerable. "Impossible," he muttered. "How could they hide so many ships?" Before he could issue any orders, a familiar face appeared on the main view screen. It was Captain Tanaka of the UES Peacekeeper. "Commander Zax," she said, her voice firm but not unkind. "This is your final chance. Leave our system now, and there need not be any bloodshed." Zax's fear quickly gave way to anger. No primitive species would dictate terms to the Galactic Empire. "Never," he snarled. "Starfire, attack Pattern Omega. Show these humans the true power of the Empire." As soon as the words left his mouth, the space around the Starfire erupted into chaos. The human ships moved with incredible speed and coordination. Smaller craft darted between the larger vessels, their movements unpredictable and erratic. The Starfire's targeting systems, designed to track the methodical movements of other Imperial ships, struggled to lock onto the agile human fighters. Zax watched in horror as the first volley from his ship's main cannon passed harmlessly through the space where a human cruiser had been just moments before. The humans weren't just fast. They seemed to be anticipating the Starfire's every move. "Impossible," Slicks whispered, his clawed hands flying over the controls. "Sir, their technology. It's like nothing we've ever seen." Indeed, the human ships were employing tactics and technologies that defied Imperial understanding. Some vessels seemed to flicker in and out of existence, while others absorbed energy blasts that should have vaporized them instantly. As the battle raged on, the true extent of humanity's preparedness became clear. This was not a hastily assembled defense force, but a well-oiled machine that had been preparing for this moment for generations. On the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Looks like those war games are paying off," she murmured to her second-in-command. "Simulation Team Zeta, your data on Imperial tactics was spot on. Well done." For years, humanity had been running simulations, preparing for every possible first contact scenario, including hostile ones. They had studied the few pieces of alien technology they had managed to salvage from crashed scout ships, reverse engineering and improving upon them. The result was a defense force that combined the best of human ingenuity with advanced alien tech. Back on the Starfire, panic was setting in. The ship shuddered as another volley of human weapons found their mark. Alarms blared, and the acrid smell of smoke filled the air. Shields at 30% and falling. Slicks cry out, "We can't take much more of this." Zax's mind raced. This was supposed to be an easy conquest, a simple subjugation of a primitive race. How had it gone so wrong? In desperation, he made a decision that would change the course of the war. "Prepare for emergency hyperspace jump," he ordered. "We must warn the Empire of this threat." As the Starfire's engines powered up for the jump, Captain Tanaka's face appeared on the view screen one last time. "Remember this day, Commander," she said, her eyes blazing with determination. "Remember that we gave you a chance to leave in peace. What happens next is on your heads." With a flash of light, the Starfire disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind a victorious human fleet and a shaken Empire commander. In the aftermath of the battle, cheers erupted across human ships and colonies. They had faced their first extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious. But the celebration was tempered by the knowledge that this was only the beginning. On Earth, President Okafor addressed the United Earth government. "Today, we have shown the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with," she declared, her voice broadcast to every human settlement across the solar system. "But we must prepare for what comes next. The Empire will return, and when they do, we must be ready." As her words rang out, humans everywhere steeled themselves for the challenges ahead. Factories ramped up production of ships and weapons. Scientists worked around the clock to unlock new technologies. And in training grounds across a dozen worlds, soldiers honed their skills, ready to defend their freedom against any threat. The Galactic Empire had made a grave mistake in underestimating humanity. Now they were about to learn just how costly that mistake would be. The grand halls of the Imperial Palace on Xener echoed with angry shouts and accusations. Emperor Xorlax VI sat on his throne, his forearms clenched in fury as he listened to Commander Zax's report of the disastrous first contact with humans. "Impossible," the Emperor roared, his multifaceted eyes flashing with rage. "How could one primitive species defeat our most advanced battlecruiser?" Commander Zax, still shaken from his encounter, could only shake his head. They were prepared, Your Majesty. Their technology, their tactics, it was like nothing we've ever seen." Before the Emperor could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the palace. High Counselor Vex burst into the throne room, his tentacles writhing in agitation. "Your Majesty," he cried, "we're under attack. The humans, they've followed us home." Outside, in the space above Xener, a scene of chaos unfolded. A fleet of sleek, dark ships had appeared seemingly out of nowhere, their designs unlike anything the Empire had ever encountered. At their center was a massive vessel that dwarfed even the largest Imperial cruisers. On the bridge of this behemoth, the UES Humanity's Hope, Admiral Sarah Chen stood calmly, surveying the Imperial capital world below. "All ships, commence Operation Thunderclap," she ordered, her voice steady. "Remember, we're not here to conquer. Our mission is to show the Empire that we can strike at their heart. Let's make this quick and clean." Across the human fleet, captains acknowledged the order. Within moments, the sky above Xener lit up with weapons fire. But unlike the indiscriminate destruction the Empire was known for, the human attacks were surgical and precise. Military installations were targeted with pinpoint accuracy. Communication hubs were disabled with electromagnetic pulses, and in a move that left the Imperial forces stunned, key defensive satellites were not destroyed, but hijacked, their control systems overwhelmed by advanced human eye. On the planet's surface, panic spread quickly. The beings of 100 different species who called Xener home had never imagined that their capital could be vulnerable. Now, they watched in awe and fear as human ships danced through their defenses, striking with impunity. In a secret bunker deep beneath the Imperial Palace, Emperor Xorlax raged at his generals. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Where did they come from? How did they find us so quickly?" The answer, unknown to the Empire, lay in the ingenious planning of the humans. When the Starfire had fled the Sol system, it had been allowed to escape for a reason. Microscopic nanobots, undetectable to Imperial scanners, had attached themselves to the ship's hull, creating a quantum-entangled trail that the human fleet could follow. As the battle raged on, Admiral Chen received a communication from Earth. President Okafor's hologram appeared on the bridge. "Admiral, the Senate has reviewed your progress," the President said, her expression serious. "You have permission to proceed with Phase 2. Chen nodded grimly. "Understood, Madam President. Initiating broadcast now." Suddenly, on every screen and holographic projector across Xenerix, the face of President Amelia Okafor appeared. Her voice, translated into hundreds of alien languages, rang out across the imperial capital. "People of the Galactic Empire," she began, her tone firm but not unkind. "We are humanity, the species your leaders foolishly tried to subjugate. We come not as conquerors, but as liberators. For too long, your empire has ruled through fear and oppression. Today, we offer you a choice." As she spoke, human ships began deploying small, autonomous drones. These devices spread throughout the city, projecting images of life on Earth and its colonies, scenes of freedom, diversity, and cooperation that were alien to many imperial citizens. "Join us," President Okafor continued, "in building a galaxy where all species are free and equal, or stand with your emperor and face the consequences of his actions." Her words, and the images that accompanied them, sent shockwaves through the empire. On hundreds of worlds, subjugated species began to whisper of rebellion. In the imperial palace itself, courtiers and officials exchanged nervous glances, wondering if they had underestimated these humans. As the broadcast ended, Admiral Chen turned to her crew. "Prepare for immediate withdrawal," she ordered. "We've made our point. Now let's see how the Empire responds." With that, the human fleet disappeared as quickly as it had arrived, leaving behind a shaken empire and a galaxy on the brink of revolution. In his bunker, Emperor Xorlax's rage had turned to cold fear. For the first time in the Empire's long history, they faced an enemy that could not only stand against them but could strike at the very heart of their power. The war had truly begun, and nothing would ever be the same. In the days following the human attack on Xenerix, the Galactic Empire found itself in unprecedented chaos. For the first time in thousands of years, the veneer of invincibility had been shattered, and the consequences were spreading like wildfire across the galaxy. On the mining world of Krasfor, a planet stripped of resources to fuel the Empire's war machine, the reptilian Krasnak workers downed their tools. Inspired by the human broadcast, they rose up against their imperial overseers. The revolt spread quickly, engulfing the entire planet in a matter of days. Krasfor was just the beginning. On hundreds of worlds, species long oppressed by the Empire began to rebel. Some fought with makeshift weapons, others with stolen imperial technology, but all fought with a newfound hope, sparked by the knowledge that the Empire was not as all-powerful as they had believed. Back on Xenerix, Emperor Xorlax VII paced in his private chambers, his four arms clasped behind his back. The once proud ruler now looked haggard, his blue skin pale with stress. "How could this happen?" he muttered to himself. "How could one species bring us to the brink of collapse?" A soft chime interrupted his brooding. "Enter," he called out. High Counselor Vex slithered into the room, his tentacles twitching nervously. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice quavering, "I bring news from the outer systems. The rebellions, they're spreading faster than we can contain them." Xorlax's eyes narrowed. "And what of our fleet? Surely they can crush these insignificant uprisings." Vex's tentacles drooped. "That's just it, Your Majesty. Our ships are stretched thin, trying to maintain order across the Empire. And there are reports of entire battle groups going missing." "Missing?" Xorlax roared. "How can entire battle groups just disappear?" Before Vex could answer, a young officer burst into the room, forgetting all protocol in his haste. "Your Majesty, Counselor, we've received a transmission from the humans." A holographic screen flickered to life in the center of the room. On it appeared the face of Admiral Sarah Chen, her expression stern but composed. "Emperor Xorlax," she began, "I am Admiral Chen of the United Earth Fleet. I come to you with a proposal and a warning." Xorlax's mandibles clicked in anger, but curiosity stayed his tongue. We have no desire for endless war, Chen continued. But we will not stand by while you oppress innocent species across the galaxy. Even now, our ships are freeing your slave worlds and offering protection to those who seek independence. The Emperor's eyes widened in shock. So that's where his battle groups had gone. Not destroyed, but defected. Here is our proposal, Chen said. Withdraw your forces from all subjugated worlds. Recognize the independence of any species that desires it. Do this, and we will help you transition to a more equitable form of government. Sorlax laughed bitterly. And if we refuse? Chen's expression hardened. Then we will have no choice but to dismantle your empire, piece by piece. We've already proven we can strike at your very heart. Don't force us to prove how much more we're capable of. With that, the transmission cut off, leaving the room in stunned silence. Sorlax turned to Vex, his voice low and dangerous. Gather the War Council. We will crush these humans, and any who dare stand with them. But as Vex hurried to comply, a seed of doubt had been planted in his mind. Could the Empire truly stand against this new threat? Meanwhile, light years away on the human colony world of New Terra, a secret meeting was taking place. In a secure underground bunker, Admiral Chen sat across from an unlikely group, representatives from a dozen different alien species, all former subjects of the Empire. Welcome, friends, Chen said warmly. We have much to discuss. The Empire's days of tyranny are numbered, but the road ahead will not be easy. Together, we must plan for the future, a future of freedom and cooperation for all species. As the meeting began, a sense of hope filled the room. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy was changing. The old order was crumbling, and in its place, a new alliance was forming, one based not on subjugation, but on mutual respect and shared values. The war was far from over, but already the humans had achieved something remarkable. They had given hope to the oppressed, shaken the foundations of an ancient empire, and set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy for generations to come. And they were just getting started. The vast emptiness of space above the planet Nexus Prime erupted into a dazzling display of light and energy as the largest fleet battle in galactic history unfolded. On one side, the remaining forces of the Galactic Empire, a desperate assemblage of ships from across their crumbling domain. On the other, the combined fleet of the human-led alliance, a colorful mix of vessels representing dozens of formerly subjugated species. Emperor Sorlax BI stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, his 4 arms tightly gripping the command rail. This was to be his final stand, a last-ditch effort to crush the human threat and reassert Imperial dominance. All ships, attack, he roared, his voice carrying across the Imperial fleet. Show these upstarts the true might of the Empire. Across the void, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the Imperial fleet's approach from the bridge of the UES Humanity's Hope. Despite the gravity of the situation, a small smile played on her lips. They're using the same tactics they've used for 1,000 years, she mused. Transmit Battle Plan Omega to all Allied ships. Let's show them how the galaxy fights in the 22nd century. What followed was a display of combat that would be studied for generations to come. The Imperial fleet, relying on brute force and overwhelming numbers, found itself outmaneuvered at every turn. Human ships danced between energy beams, their advanced AI predicting and countering Imperial moves before they were even made. But it wasn't just human ingenuity at work. Each allied species brought its own unique strengths to the battle. Krasnak ships, their hulls reinforced by the very minerals they once mined for the Empire, absorbed punishment that would have destroyed other vessels. Luminary craft glowed with otherworldly energy, jamming Imperial communications and sensors. As the battle raged on, it became clear that this was more than just a military engagement. It was a clash of philosophies, the old way of domination and fear against a new paradigm of cooperation and mutual respect. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, Emperor Sorlax watched in growing horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. Ships he had thought invincible were reduced to drifting hulks. Tactics that had won 1,000 battles proved worse than useless. "How?" he whispered, his earlier bravado evaporating. "How can this be happening?" The answer came in the form of a massive energy surge from the Humanity's Hope. A swirling vortex of light engulfed the Imperial flagship, and Xorlax felt the deck lurch beneath his feet. When the light faded, he found himself not in the depths of space, but in a vast, circular chamber. Around him stood representatives of 100 different species: humans, Krasnaks, Luminary, and many others he didn't even recognize. Admiral Chen stepped forward, her uniform crisp and her expression solemn. "Emperor Xorlax Viata, your reign is over. The free peoples of the galaxy have chosen a different path." Xorlax's mandibles clicked in helpless rage. "You think you've won? You've only doomed the galaxy to chaos." A ripple of laughter spread through the chamber. A Krasnak elder spoke up, his scales gleaming under the chamber's lights. "You call this chaos? We call it freedom. Your empire brought stability through oppression," added a luminary diplomat, her body glowing softly. "We will build a new order based on mutual respect and cooperation." As Xorlax looked around the chamber, he saw not the chaos he had feared, but a new kind of order emerging. Species that had been mortal enemies under imperial rule were standing side by side, united in their vision for the future. President Amelia Okafor stepped into the center of the chamber, her presence commanding attention. "Today marks the end of the Galactic Empire," she announced, her voice carrying to every corner of the room and beyond, to billions of beings watching the proceedings across the galaxy. "But it also marks a new beginning." She turned to face Xorlax. "You and your government will stand trial for your crimes against sentient beings, but your people, all people, are welcome to join us in building a galaxy where every species can thrive." As Xorlax was led away, the chamber erupted in cheers. The long night of imperial rule was over. A new dawn was breaking across the galaxy. In the days and weeks that followed, the monumental task of rebuilding began. The Galactic Alliance, as it came to be known, faced numerous challenges. Old grudges had to be set aside. Resources had to be shared. A new system of governance had to be established. But as Admiral Chen looked out at the stars from the observation deck of Humanity's Hope, she felt a sense of optimism she had never known before. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had helped forge a new future for countless beings across the cosmos.